Hello. So today we will be studying about comfort conditions. So this is the requirement necessary, or this is the requirement for air conditioning design to be designed for human comforts. So human comfort is basically it is the condition of mind which expresses satisfaction with the related to the thermal environment. Okay. So the condition of mind or the need of your airflow to the conditioned space will be different in summer and winter. So relative to that, yeah, what is the condition of mind, or what is the situation, or the what is the wind velocity, temperature, humidity level to be maintained so that a human being will feel good. So that is the necessary of studying this chapter. So this is the basically the what happens with the human body when how it behaves with the environment in regard to your heat transfer conditions. So if you see, human body generates heat due to your mechanism which is qm. So the heat released due to mechanism is qm. So out of that, some amount of heat will be utilized the body for doing the work. Okay. So the remaining heat will be distributed to the surrounding through three modes of heat transfer, that is evaporation, radiation, and convection. So evaporation is basically this heat removed to the sweat. Okay. So evaporation, radiation, and convection. So apart from this, whatever the heat is dissipated, the remaining part is getting stored in the body. Okay. So therefore, which increases or decreases. So which increases the body temperature if it is positive. Okay. If the outside or ambient conditions are such that your heat dissipated is more than this amount, then naturally this will be negative. Okay. So your body temperature will start decreasing. Okay. So so depending on that, your whatever will happen to the body temperature. Okay. So this metabolic heat generated is dependent on food energy consumption in the body, and also it will depend whether a man is fasting or having more food, or it is sick or having fever. So all these things. So first study what is the heat lost by evaporation. It is given by your QE is equal to CD into A into PS minus PV HFG CC. So what are these factors? Let us study. So CD is diffusion coefficient in kg of water evaporated per unit surface area and pressure difference per hour. Okay. So this is the coefficient value. It's going to be given at different, for different kind of body. So it is the A is the average skin area of, like for normal man it is 1.8 meter square. So PS is the saturation vapor pressure corresponding to the ambient or skin temperature. Sorry, it is depending on skin temperature. So taking the skin temperature, we have to see from steam table what is the corresponding pressure, saturation pressure. So PV is the vapor pressure of the surrounding air. HFG is the latent of evaporation. Okay. Now CC is a factor which accounts for clothing on. Okay, so whatever clothing factor is there for that, because if you have thin cloth, then your evaporation will be higher. If you have thick clothes, then your evaporation rate will be slow. So depending on that, this CC factor has to be depend that different societies hit, like as I give charts for the CC values. So this will be also equal to your so as your sweat is formed like a film, so your what is the film heat transfer coefficient is, if it is specified, so then it is your heat transfer coefficient into area, and this is the temperature difference. Okay. So again, so this will be not there. Sorry. Okay, only CC factors will be there. CC will also be, I think, not there. If it is there, okay. So now coming to, it's stored in the body. Okay. So if you are depending on your metabolism, heat generated, and remaining part, so these are the 3D modes of heat transfer happening to the heat dissipated to the surrounding. Okay. So this remaining part will be QS. So if your heat dissipation rate is higher, then your body temperature will go on increasing. Okay, so your body temperature will go on increasing. If your this part is higher than your this part, then your QS will be negative. So the body temperature will fall down. Okay, thus the sick, weak, or cold or fasting man feels more cold because this amount is less. Okay, so during fever, your QM due to because fever is normally happens due to your viral infection and all that. So your due to fever, your QS becomes positive, which leads to increase in the body temperature. Okay, so the heat stored in the body is so there is a condition between which a human there is a condition between which there is a condition of temperature between which your human body feels good or which beyond which it is very difficult for human body and it may lead to death. Okay, so this is the condition. So so depending on this heat QS, so there is a automatic control mechanism happening inside the human body, which is called your vasomotor control mechanism, which maintains the body temperature. Okay, so what happens in that vasomotor control mechanism, we'll see. So whenever the body temperature falls, that is QS becomes negative, then the vasomotor control decreases the circulation of blood, which decreases the conductivity of nerve cells and the other tissues between skin and the inner body cells. Okay, so when your QS becomes negative, okay, so the body temperature becomes less. So what will happen? It will decrease the nerve supply between the skin and the inner body, so that heat will not dissipate to the outside surrounding. Okay, so this will lead to the accumulation of heat inside the body cell, as a result to which your temperature of the inner body cells will start increasing. So once it is maintained, then it will increase the blood supply. Okay, so similarly, your when your body temperature rises, your QS becomes positive, then your vasomotor control increases the circulation of the body, which increases the conductivity of nerve cells and other tissues between the skin and inner body cells. Similarly, so when the opposite happens or QS becomes positive, then the inner body temperature is higher. So the heat needs to be dissipated to the surrounding. So therefore, it will increase the blood supply from the between the body cells and the skin. So heat will be now passing through the heat will be dissipated through blood to the skin and from skin to the surrounding. So this is the mechanism through which your body cell temperature is controlled. So human body feels comfortable when there is no change in the body temperature, that is QS becomes zero. So these are different conditions what happens when your heat or body temperature changes. So I'm not going to much this is so one of the important concept here is that your effective temperature. It is actually your temperature depending on your outside or surrounding air temperature, relative humidity, and air velocity. There is a effective temperature. How much coolness or how much hotness you are feeling. This basically the effective temperature shows that. Actually, if you have your suppose you have moisture in your surrounding air, but at the same time and the air is hot also. Okay, so it is more than 37 degrees Celsius, but at the same time if you have little bit wind speed, then you will feel different. But if you have no air velocity, then you will feel different. Okay, so that gives your effective temperature. So this effective temperature leads to your human comfort. So this is so due to your human comfort. So different societies have proposed what will be the chart inside which your or the ranges of temperatures between which a human body feels comfortable. So this is a comfort chart. We call it a comfort chart. This is prescribed by ISRE. So this is an old one. So you have a new modified chart also. So this x-axis is your dry bulb temperature and wet bulb temperature is in the y-axis. So the relative humidity axis are there. So this is the region. Okay. So when you have your dry bulb temperature between around say let's say 1922 25, and in your relative humidity this line is 70%, this upper line is 70% and this below line is 30%. So when your relative humidity is between this and this and probability is this, so you feel comfortable. Okay, so wet ball temperature is also a representation of your degree of saturation. Therefore, these two are same. But this chart is specified for a range of air velocity. This is very essential. So if your air velocity changes, then this chart it needs to is to be changed. Okay. So similarly, so these are different facts. One of the major observation is that in summer conditions most of the people felt comfortable at the effective temperature of this much, and in winter the effective temperature is this much. So what are the conditions that are necessary for giving rise to a effective temperature this much is to be maintained. Okay, so it also depends on your whether gender of the people and also age of the people are also factors which influence the effective temperature. Okay, this is a modified chart with respect to your wind velocity given in here, and this is the effective temperature range. This is the dry wall temperature. This is the wet wall temperature corresponding wet wall temperature. Okay, so this is called modified comfort chart. No, sorry, this one is a modified comfort chart. This is it's same chart with respect to air velocity. So that's because your conditions are changing and whatever this radiant temperature is considered. Okay, in the modified chart, the mean radiant temperature is kept equal to the drival temperature and air velocity is less than this. This is because modified because as nowadays your wind velocity is not that higher. So inside room conditions, considering inside room conditions, so this factor is taken. So this is a similar representation is there. Here your drival temperature is there. Here specific humidity is there. Okay, so and the relative humid lines are there. Similarly, here near, if you see the upper limit of relative humid line is 60%. Okay, so I'm a little bit enclosing this. So if you see, this is 60% and below is 20%. So between that and your temperature range is 25 to let's say around it will be 23, 24 like that. Okay, so in between this, in your comfort chart is there. So these are the various factors what governs your effective temperature. So this is the various factors which influences the effective temperature. So climatic and seasonal differences, clothing conditions, age and gender, and duration of stay, how much staying you are staying inside the room, and the kind of activity, whether you are sitting or you are doing some physical activity, that also depends your metabolism, heat generation, so which ultimately leads to your heat stored in the body. So density of occupants, whether you are one person is there in the room or you have several persons in the room. Okay, so thank you. So this is all about your comfort condition. Next we will be going to air conditioning systems. So,